Hey, quick housekeeping thing before this announcement starts. You may have noticed that there was a big meltdown with PayPal. It happened with the release of the base episode. Some of you may have been affected by that. I'm doing my best to resolve it. What happened is that it's a new PayPal business account, and when you have a new account and all of a sudden there's a bunch of activity on it, they start putting all the payments on hold. What a great service. It's so awesome for a new startup business. Anyways, so that's what's happening, and I can't get it to stop doing that. And when it puts it on hold, it puts the payment on hold for 21 days, which is even more insane. For some of you, I've been able to go in and manually add the episodes. You know, for anybody that reached out that was having this issue, I'm trying to get caught up with this, manually add the episodes so you can see the episode that you want to watch. So I'm going through that process. I apologize. It's been slow. This whole thing created a huge mountain. It was a big mess to try and clean up. That's why I had to pull the PayPal payment option off for the moment until I know for sure that it's not going to do this anymore, because it was just accumulating this giant mountain, this huge mess to clean up. And the other thing that was happening is that people were purchasing it multiple times, which was understandable, because you'd make the purchase, go back to watch the video, it says it's still locked. You thought maybe it didn't work that time and try it again. And so now I have multiple purchases. I'm gonna have to go back and refund all those. And so it's a lot of work, but I'll get it sorted out. And hopefully this week we'll be able to figure out how to get PayPal to work properly and put it back up there as a payment option. So again, sorry for all of the confusion and inconvenience of this. I appreciate your patience. We're figuring it out. All this will get smoothed out, soon, and it should all be working right. All right, here we go. On to the announcement. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Making Records with Eric Valentine. That's me. This is a quick one. It's more of an announcement. Some people were asking about getting a copy of the Pro Tools session for that drum booth song, you know, the sort of desert rock Queensy sounding thing. And so I'm happy to do that. I'm going to make it available. And I also thought it might be fun to do like a little mix contest with it, because you will find if you download this session, since it was mixed with my hybrid setup here, when you play back the session, it doesn't sound anything like my mix at all. I reassigned things so they would just come out of the stereo output, and they're not assigning to my passive summing mixer and all that stuff, which wouldn't make sense unless you have this setup. So, but you'll hear it sounds very, very different. Also in that session is the final mix file, and I have various versions of it in there. And by the way, I'm also going to provide just the raw files. If you don't work in Pro Tools, you can download the raw files, reconstruct all of this in whatever DAW you use, and play around with it and mix and do whatever you want with it. So here it is. There are folders for the various drum versions. So there's a folder here. This is the edited digital recordings. These are the mic preamps going directly into the computer, what was originally captured, and then I play those back. They go through my tape machine and a bunch of outboard processing stuff. They show up like this, but those are in folders. You'll have to, open those up to see it. And then there was a couple scratch, just DI, like a guitar and bass part when I was just finalizing what the parts were. You can hear that. I had a couple just like amp sims on there to listen to while I was playing stuff. And then here is the bass tracks, the digital capture of it, and then after it went through the tape machine. Here is the guitar DI signal for the main guitar part, the digital direct from the mic pre's version, and then the analog after it went through the tape machine version. Same thing for the first of the heavy guitars. Here's the double of the heavy guitars, and then here are some final mix files here. And if you look, there are playlists here. I ended up doing this. It was a version of the mix where it went through my half-inch analog tape machine, and I turned down the level a little bit, so I wasn't hitting it quite so hard. It was getting a little soft. So this thing that says moreheadroom.log, that was the one that I was the happiest with. And this +2 of 5K, this is these Langevin passive EQs. I think I showed it in the episode about it. But there's other versions in here. You can hear just the direct digital print of it. There's an earlier version where before I added the 2 dB of 5K. All that's in there for you to check out. These are just the Wes Audio leveler tracks. those probably aren't going to help you, but you can see them. I exported all of the files, so they would all be the same length. All you have to do is line up the beginnings of all the files. They'll all sync up, and you can see all this stuff. It should all be labeled in a way that makes sense in here. Each one is labeled as guitar 1, 2, or 3, and which microphone it is, etc., etc. You should be able to piece it together. You're welcome to download the thing. You're going to access this through the Nerd Stuff blog on the website. I'm going to show you that. To find it, so like if you go to the home page of Making Records with Eric Valentine on the Audionaut Institute domain, so if you go here at the bottom, you'll see Nerd Stuff. You click on this, and there you will find a blog post that's going to look like this. This is the Drum Booth Song Pro Tools Session and Mix Contest. And so there's a little explanation, same stuff I'm sort of explaining now, and there's going to be places in here where you can download stuff. I also put a place in where you can pay me $2 to do this if you want to. It's not being enforced. It's just if you think this thing's going to be useful and helpful for you and you want to throw me a couple bucks for it, it's awesome. I appreciate it. If not, it's all good. So, so then for the mix contest, this is my thought about it. So what I'm really curious about is, I did my mix with this hybrid setup, and I don't think I could get it to sound like that just mixing in the box. If you think you can, I would love to hear it. There are definitely people out there that are way better at mixing in the box than I am, and I would be curious to see if that's possible. So if you really want to go down the path of trying to match my mix with your setup or in the box or whatever it is, that would be super cool to hear. The other thing you can do, if you think my mix is pretty cool but it could be better, go for beating it. And so you can try and beat my mix, and I'd love to hear that too. That would be awesome. I'm sure there's better versions of this mix to be had out there. And so there's a Google form here that you use in order to participate in the mix. You would use this form after your mix is finished. And so you click on this, it comes up here, you put your name, email address, you select if you're trying to match my mix or if you're trying to beat my mix. And that's important because it's going to affect how it's being judged by me. If I don't know what the intention is with your mix and I think you're trying to match it and you're trying to beat it and it's intentionally sounding different, then, I'll be confused. So make a selection there. And then here you can provide a link, like if you use Dropbox or any of the file sharing services, you can put a link here to download your mix, or I actually put a place here where you can upload your mix to my Google Drive. I think there's a limit. Yeah, I can only support a total of 1 gigabyte worth of stuff, but for, this song is only a minute long. That we should be able to do that without overloading it. So that's how you actually submit for it. There's going to be a time frame for this. I'd like to put up the result episode in 2 weeks from the time that this gets announced, but please get your submissions in no later than 10 days after this is announced, because I'll need a few days to listen to everything, make some choices, make an episode, get it edited, all that stuff, and put it up. So 10 days to get your mix in, and then 2 weeks to put up the results of all of this stuff. So hopefully this will be fun, interesting, useful. I'm happy to share the Pro Tools session. There's a ton of stuff in there. There's mics and things that I never turned on or used or whatever. You can check all that stuff out. You can really hear the difference between the digital versions of things and the analog versions. You can really hear, the full resolution version of the mix that I ended up with, and see what you think of that, different versions of that mix. So there might be some useful stuff in there. Again, thank you for checking this stuff out, participating in all of this Making Records and Audionaut stuff. I really appreciate it. It's just been super fun for me. I'm very excited about doing this little announcement and mix contest. I think it's going to be really fun. So, all right. Thanks for being a part of it. I'll see you next time. Bye.